Check, check. Quick sound check. Can everybody hear us loud and clear? What's going on, Coach Paul?
Hearing you loud and clear, Coach Jay. How's everybody doing today?
Happy
On the,
Hangover Thursday.
yeah, the day after.
Yep. Day after the Fed. Welcome to At the Buzzer, everyone. Our market recap. If this is your first time here, the goal of this session is to review what happened in the markets for the day. We may talk about some markets that you have not traded before. We're probably going to talk about a market that you have not traded before, but it's one that we've talked about often. But the goal of this segment is to review what happened in the markets for the day, see how we could take advantage, want to identify opportunities, see how we can take advantage of those opportunities while managing our risk. This is our first time here meeting. I'm Coach Jay, the Topstep performance coach since June of 2023, and that is Coach Paul. Coach Paul, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey, I'm Coach Paul. I've been with Topstep since April of 2023. I've been involved in the futures trading industry for 4 decades. I'm here to share some experiences, some knowledge, and hopefully help you become a better trader.
Awesome stuff. We're seeing an echo on the audio. Is it my
A
audio?
what?
Is it Paul's audio?
A what? A what?
There shouldn't be an echo. Bruno, let us know. You hearing an echo, Bruno?
Bruno, help us, please.
Anyone else hearing an echo? Are you playing the video twice, Edison? Maybe you're listening to the video twice. Do you have two tabs open? Okay, that could be it. That has definitely happened to me before. A lot of other people saying no echo, so shall forge forward. All right. Take a look at the Trader Hub as far as some news goes. We did just get FedEx earnings. Adjusted earnings per share came out at $3.83. Estimates were $3.59. Revenues came in at 22.2 billion. Estimates were 21.67 billion. So FedEx looking good there, which is interesting, right? We know FedEx does a lot of the shipping here in just in general, and we're seeing consumer spending up as well. So 99 days till Christmas, FedEx is doing pretty good, and I'm sure that they do better Q4 with all the deliveries for the holidays. We did have some jobs data out this morning. Initial jobless claims came in at 231,000. Forecast was 240, so a little bit better than expected. We know that that jobs data has been taking center stage with what the Fed is kind of looking at right now and what the markets are looking at. Anything else you have on the news, Coach Paul?
Nothing, nothing else really. There wasn't any big news. But looking to tonight, though, it could be interesting in the Japanese yen. They have their CPI data coming out. And I'm kind of interested in getting short the yen. So other than that, I mean, like you said at the beginning, a little hangover.
We did get a NVIDIA investment in Intel, $5 billion. Intel was up 25% at one point today. I don't know where it ended, but Intel up huge today off of news of an NVIDIA investment in Intel, boosting that stock and boosting NVIDIA as well. NVIDIA was up on the day as well after selling off just a little bit yesterday. But let's take a look at the quote board. There are 36 different markets we can trade with Topstep accounts, and today to the downside, we had soybean oil down 1.18%. That is consistently in the percentage movers to the downside, soybean oil, or maybe not consistently, past 2 days. Can you call it consistent if it only happens twice? The New Zealand, the New Zealand dollar down 1.28%, pretty big move to the downside there. And natural gas, our biggest percentage mover to the downside, down 5.32%. That move really got going after. We'll just do a quick frame out of this. Here's natural gas inventories. I mentioned it during fast markets and said, hey, if you're trading natural gas, maybe be aware of this. Someone in the chat said, no one trades natural gas. Someone should have traded natural gas. That someone should have been me. Because some nice continuation after that inventory number. Go ahead, Coach Paul.
Well, we have people in our audience who trade natural gas.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
It's a great contract.
See one of them. See JD in there. I know you trade natural gas. Harry says, much love all. Stay green. Stay green. Stay green over the long run. To the upside, we had micro Ethereum futures up 1.77%. The Nikkei up 2.25%, and the Russell, the Rusty Russell, 2.56% to the upside. Uh, Everyone loves the Nasdaq. Everyone loves the Nasdaq, but the
Cousin
Russell,
Rusty did
the
it well
Russell.
today.
Uh, Think you're not a nobody, you're a somebody to us. Thank you for joining us. And if you trade the natural gas today, hopefully you caught some of that short. Uh, I wish I could go back and find out the day that you were talking about this catch up trade in the Russell, Coach Paul, because I'm pretty sure that was near the low of this move. Just continuing to grind up. I know you traded it. We'll break that down for sure. But for our audience here, again, you're probably not going to hear the Russell talked about a lot during the opening call and things like that. I was talking to some of my VIPs about this, Coach Paul. And sometimes it might feel like you're doing something wrong, right? Where you're the only trader trading it. You don't hear anybody else talking about it. You don't see anybody posting about it on Twitter. Um, but at the end of the day, if you win the trade, the money's green, right? So who cares if you're the only one trading it? What a market, man. Uh, what a market. Two
Well,
and a half percent.
it's been on a roll. It has the structure, and as we talked yesterday, it has less variance because there's less retail trade. But look at that, and it is playing catch up. Wonder when it's going to get even. It's not too. I mean, it's still got some work to do.
All-time high in the Russell going back to 2021. We are trading highs of the year, but we're still about a little less than 4% off the all-time high in the Russell here, right under that major 2,500 level. And this market looks extremely strong. We got the Nasdaq making a new all-time high today as well. So, if you trade the Nasdaq, by all means, but the Russell is just, oh, I meant to type that 3 in the chart, not in the chat. Uh, Just a really nice move here. We can break this chart down a little bit. Um, Talk about our big four. We got crude oil down 0.57%, the S&P up 0.55%, gold down 1.03%, and the Nasdaq up just under 1%, 0.98%, making a new all-time high today in the Nasdaq. That all-time high price was 24,816. I got a Nasdaq chart up here, Coach Paul. On the daily, what are we seeing? And then we'll go down to the shorter time frame.
Yeah, well, continuation. After yesterday's little blip to the downside, hammer candle that we traded above most of the day, um, upward and to the right, and picking up momentum as it goes higher. A little bit of
Yes,
a J
it
trade
is.
there.
Yeah, yeah. So we talked about this one yesterday, right? Where that selling got rejected. The candle closed lower than it opened, but I think we had like a negative 0.05% day in the Nasdaq or something like that. Something pretty insignificant, and where we had some heavy selling that got bought right back up after that Fed meeting. So, we got the close above it right now, but trading above that high 24,562 was a pretty good sign of rejection. And let's take a look at the shorter time frame. Let's look at the opening from last night. They bought it early. They bought it often. Uh, that is urgency, Coach Paul.
Yes, and well, let's look right off the bat. We have the first candle. Now, this
Yeah.
was after that, volatile, violent day yesterday. But going back on this, we had that J trade yesterday. What
Yep.
price?
That was the one that was on the 30-second.
Was that?
Yeah, that was the one I took. But there was a couple. We could look at. It's kind of this range here. Actually, here, let's do it from the news candle. The news candle was this range right here. We can call that. That's where all that volume came in. We closed above
Yep.
it.
And then just look at it once again. If we just remove the candles and looked at the VWAP, it just gives you the direction outside. There you go. it was, I mean, sometimes strip it all down to get an idea. That's a rising VWAP. I mean, all the variants of the candles removed. Will that help you buy the dip? Sure helps me. I know yesterday I talked about something where I just want to get long. I don't want to get short. For me, I don't like fading the the trend. But it was quite the trend. There's the news, and there's the buying. So let's get back to the candles. So with that, last night, I mean, it was just urgent and often 2-to-1 trade early, almost like gagging. Like, why did I get out?
Yeah,
Um, well, you got out because 2-to-1 is well within range. It's reasonable.
could have been your one trade for the day.
Um, Now, and it kept going into Europe.
Slight
It
little
was
pullback
in,
to VWAP. It held.
yep. But let's see, before the opening in Europe, I mean, you get so far away, there was profit taking. Look where we went to. Look at the low,
This Europe low, yeah, right off of VWAP.
right off of VWAP before US Open. And so with that in mind, when we remove the candles, and there was the dip, but it didn't change VWAP.
Yeah, right.
Um,
None of these dips did. Even the New York session when
no,
we got the pullback, none of them did.
and that's why they're all wicks,
Yep.
right? Because so let's go in to see the New York Open.
So I'm gonna change this to regular trading hours,
Mhm.
because we did open up with a gap. Again, we did have that jobless claims number that came out. To be honest with you, we'll go to a shorter time frame. It didn't really do too much. We didn't really see much of a market reaction. We barely saw any volume. Like it's almost hard to see where that print came out. It's this candle right here, but just because there's a number doesn't always mean the market's going to respond. Now, if you traded just jobless claims, you had some nice urgency off that jobless claims print, but really no volume from there. But let's change this to regular trading hours and see what we got. 50% of that gap, and we bounced from there. Can you guys still hear me? We lose Coach Paul. Check, check. You guys are still with me, right? Lost Coach Paul. There he is. He's coming back. They tried to take
What
us out.
I was in the ether there.
Whoever the buyer was at 50% of that gap said, "Hey, they're sharing our secrets. Cut the stream.
Good.
Can't get rid of me that quick. People need this information." But I mean, look at it, right? If we go from the open to yesterday's close, we traded right down to 50% of that gap, right near 24,600. All the selling pressure that we saw, 100 points to the downside. Shout out to Braden trading with us on Fast Markets today. Really patient through this, right? He was looking for longs. Coach Paul, I know you're looking for longs when the equities are above, or any market is above that 200 moving average on the 30-minute. Braden looking for longs and was able to make some profit on the day when we had a pretty aggressive sell-off, but and right down to 50% of the gap, and a really nice 200-point push to the upside after that. Uh, Nasdaq is a good market to trade. It's a little scary sometimes, but it is a good market to trade if you have the right risk defined.
Well, it was interesting. Right after the opening,
Mhm.
now it isn't a perfect J trade, but we had that largest volume outside of the opening on selling. Um, Now it did make new lows, but that was not the lows of the day.
Right.
What was interesting though is when we closed above it, it was a rocket.
Yeah. Sometimes I'm gonna be
Now,
hon sometimes I'm gonna be honest, Coach Paul, sometimes I know we have the criteria of it needing to be at the low of the day,
yep.
but sometimes you gotta take it. Go ahead. You were gonna say?
Well, so you define your risk. Yeah.
Right,
In
right.
this environment, now, you just said that we got halfway into the gap. So what do we have? So we have some shorts right after. Now we have looking at VWAP that we would with that steadiness, getting that remember how that looked. I just don't like to get short with that. Now you might look for an opportunity.
Yep.
Now, with that said, we got back above VWAP. We left the opening range. VWAP had turned around. Now, originally, I mean, after the first like 10, 12 minutes, it was what? Trending down.
Yep.
So with that in mind, when we leave that range and it's too high, all that volume of selling is trapped,
Stuck.
stuck.
Why wouldn't you expect the gap to fill before turning around? Uh, it really depends. From my experience, and I don't have the data on this. Um, when we open up with like a gap of 1% or more, in my just anecdotal experience, we usually get a continuation, right? When that gap is usually somewhere near 0.5% or less, then it's a little bit easier to fill the gap, right? If I'm think about it just from a your own psychology, if I'm long in the overnight session from 24,500 and I'm up 200 points, I might take some profits, right? And we see maybe a little bit of profit taking on that New York session open when all that volume comes in. But if I'm still up 100 points, do I close my full trade? If I think there's more room up to go take out that all time high, probably not, right? So, you know, we talked about this during the opening call, Coach Paul. Is the overnight session just going to pass the baton to New York to continue running? And that's exactly what happened. Um, not every gap does have to get filled.
Now, here's another thing. I don't if we pull that chart all the way to the right till the opening. Now, in that situation, my expectations are I don't know. Now, just judging from the first candle. Now, I know this. There's data that shows that's going to get filled.
Hmm.
Well, if it's going to get filled, we should have some solid, strong hands on the short side early. Now, now we get that opening candle, next candle, we keep going. And I want to see for that to get filled. I want to see volume leave the opening range. Price did, looks good. Now right there, just on a price basis, right there, that looks good. Now preempt that on a sell. That means price has, and you can go ahead. To me, I'll go ahead and sell it. But if we close above VWAP, I'm out of there.
Hmm.
So let's go to the next one. Looking good. Now we saw that before that we were talking about that what's the largest volume outside of the open was selling. All right. Now we go again. Is it going to fill the gap? Looks like it.
Oh no, what happened?
Now, right there, what happened? All that selling gets taken out by one candle
Yep.
back into the range. I, done. I'm out.
Yeah.
And that was 3 minutes. So what was happening? That was the buyers waiting in the wings.
Uh, and we got down to 50% of that gap, but that 50% of that gap also, and we've talked about this before, watching the market's reaction to whole number levels. Is it a coincidence that all of those sellers met buying at a whole number level? I don't think so. Now, some people may not look at them or they're just like, hey, that's just a whole number level, doesn't mean anything. And yeah, if the market wants to rip through that whole number level, yeah, then it doesn't mean anything. But when we have 100-point sell off in 6 minutes and we stop to the tick on a major level in an uptrending market, that was the dip to buy. And we can see it in this case as well. And then maybe you don't buy right off of 600s because you need confirmation, which is fine. Um, but like you said, Coach Paul, if I was short here and we see that rejection, you got to think about, where am I managing this trade to get out? And then we get that close above VWAP, like you said. But it turn around, it could, but that is a strong rejection there.
And also, I would be, I could see why you would want to sell that. It's a big gap. We were up big.
Yep.
I mean, to me, we were up against second
Hold on, Paul. I think the cut. Are we still live,
resistance
guys?
level of resistance. So
Oh, yeah,
yeah,
we're still live. We're good. Sorry, I'm
but
having some weird issues over here.
in measuring volume, even if you take that short, there's a sign. Okay, this is not working. Get out the way.
Get out of the way. And then
Sometimes when there's a light at the end of the tunnel, and it could be a train, and this was that case.
Uh, want to give another shout out to Braden, who got into a long. The first trade he took was a long as the market was pushing up, making all time high, right? So he got in long here, 748, where you're seeing the market like this, and sometimes that can be a scary trade. But we had that rejection down there at those lows, and he's just getting in with the trend now, getting in with micros where the risk is managed on this. And looking for us to go take out that all time high, which is exactly what we did. Now, the one thing that we didn't get, this original trade Braden did add to, which is his style of trade management, looking to build into a position as the market is agreeing with him. But what did volume do, Coach Paul? We had price above 800. I don't think VWAP ever got above 800 for the day. So, uh, you know, is there going to be price action in your favor here on the longs for sure? But is it the type of sustainable price action if the heavier volume isn't continuing? And that's kind of why we see, we get a bunch of reversions back to VWAP. So you can trade it on a price basis, but if the volume isn't sustaining it, then there's a high probability that we get a reversion to it. Um, Again, Braden got stopped out here, got right back into this trade, 736, another hell of an entry. And then you heard him say it on Fast Markets. He locked himself out after getting stopped out of this trade in profit because his expectations didn't align with what the market was saying. Listen to the end of Fast Markets when Braden did lock out his account. He said, I have to lock out here because my expectations don't align with the market. I think that's great awareness to have as a trader where I might want something if the market's not agreeing with it, Coach Paul, and I
No,
continue to try to take trades in that direction, it could turn out to be a pretty bad day. So just, really good mindset there, I think.
yeah, and being aware of that, mindfulness of this. This is what I want, and this is the market's showing me the price action is showing me something different, and having the wherewithal, just to go this out.
Yeah. Yeah, really great awareness, right? Could turn a smaller winning day into a big losing day if you continue to try to force this trade. And, you know, maybe it's not worth it. Hey, there are going to be days where the market agrees with, there's going to be days where the market does more than what I expected. That might have been in the Russell today. Uh, but, uh, you know, if you're not there to take advantage of it, what does it matter? Somebody asked us to look at the S&P really quick. We spent a lot of time on the Nasdaq. Let's take a look at the S&P. Very similar story here. Very similar story. Look at the highest volume 30-minute candle from yesterday. Once we close above that, let me change this to extended trading hours. Very similar story here in the S&P.
Yep, urgency. There was urgency on the 5 3 minute. It was just buying.
Just buy everything.
So I mean, this is very much the same chart. Interesting as we come right back to the high of that opening half an hour.
High of that opening half an hour, high of that high volume candle from yesterday. It's all a zone. Volume profile traders probably have something up here as well, but not enough flow to get through it.
So, yep, I mean, there was couple of great trades. I mean, even at I mean, it got so far extended. There was a great sell up there. If we look at an ATR basis, I think it was up almost a daily ATR uh, at that point last night.
Yeah, I think it
Um,
was Coach Paul. 67.19 was the high, new all-time high, 67.19 quarter. And yeah, that's exactly it, right? From the low of that move to that high was 55 points. The daily ATR is 56.
there you go. Now, and that was in Europe, right?
Yep.
Before US Open.
Right.
Now, what are to me, it's like this is what are the chances if you're long and you look at that, don't give it any room.
Yep.
And now, as a person, I don't fade well. Um, so, but if you're a fader, the mother of all faders would look at that and look for some structure that it's going to fail.
Yep.
Well, you got some. Put on a anchor and ATR to that level.
Anchor a VWAP to this level to the high.
Yeah, they're not. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not going to sell a high, but where does that fail? No, it's kind of obvious.
Right.
Nice trade.
Right back up in that range. I know Jack was looking at 67.12s, which might be a level that you want to keep on your charts in the S&P. 67.12 lines up with 66.50 SPX level. Somebody asked a question in the chat, what leads what? Does the spot market lead futures, or does futures lead the spot market? Well, futures are a derivative of the spot market, so I'd say spot leads the future. Is that right, Coach Paul? What would you say there?
Well, spot leads. Period. It's the
Yep.
cash market.
Right.
Futures are a derivative, which means they derive their value from from something else. In this case, the cash market or the spot. Now, with that, if when markets are busy, fund managers just go to the futures first to get the exposure instead of buying all the individual stocks. But there's certain times when the futures can lead. So I don't want to give that but that's for arbitrageurs, of which we are not. But I mean, if you find a pattern, I go with it. But I can get you can get at least speaking from my experience, you can get really spun around of direction.
Yeah.
But good spreaders understand that it's a big market.
Absolutely. I got the Russell chart up here. I have to. What are we seeing here? And you take this one. I'm gonna just mute my microphone. You go ahead.
Um, well, we had urgency on the opening last night. Where's that? What's that white line?
200 moving average on the 30-minute chart.
On the 30-minute chart, the 200, that's where we opened the low of that chart. It's basically so after that eruption from FOMC, if we just removed those, take that volatility, what? Okay, this market's in an uptrend. It's by the 200. Now, what do you think there might be an algorithm that's looking at that? I don't know, maybe, but we've seen this so many times. The white line, and it's not what I used to be when I was younger. This is a 200 moving average. Um,
A legal substance.
a legal substance. But look at that. It bought it. That was the low of the day. Um, and we finished, okay, let's call it the high of the day. Um, that was just it was a nice 2-to-1 trade last night. Came back to the high. Oh,
Gave
we
you
get the
another opportunity.
breakout again. No, didn't even make it to that. It's that much stronger. Um, so it had another one, a great run up, came right back. And let's look at the 5 minute without what last night's action.
All right. For Van Johnson in the chat, this box that I'm using is just a fib tool. The way you see me doing it is Alt F, which is the hotkey for it. And if you look at the settings, I just took all the middle levels out. I know there are a bunch of traders, a bunch of great traders that use them. I just want to know where the high, low, and 50% of all these candles are. I could probably use a rectangle tool as well, but I'm a laziness breeds innovation, and Alt F is a lot easier than Alt Shift R for the hotkey. So just a fib tool, high, low, 50%. All right, let's take a look at the regular trading hours, Coach Paul, 5 minute chart.
So a little less of a gap. Interesting. Now versus the Nasdaq, and I've been noticing this one, and we talked yesterday about there's more retail in Nasdaq than there is in Rusty, and that can create different variance or some turbulence. So look at the first ones. We'll go with the 5 minutes. Attach an anchored VWAP. I mean, they had urgency, they had volume, and look what the now. Look at the volume on that first 5 minute candle.
Mm-hmm.
When we have a J trade,
Yeah, close above it, and that was it.
it was it. I'll take that trade every time. No matter, I don't care if it's gold, the Russell, rice, oats.
Doesn't matter.
So they're a nice 2-to-1 trade, good scalp. And there wasn't much variance. I'm looking, it was interesting. Look where it came back to. Right to
Right to VWAP.
VWAP.
Right to VWAP.
So and we finished near the highs of the day. It was just now. I think that goes into into the J Trade Museum. Clean, and once again, we're over the 200 moving average we saw with all sessions.
Yeah. Hey, look at this proposal in the chat. We should give 10% of our payouts to Coach Paul every month.
Please do.
Hey, I only charge 0.25%, but
okay, here we go. Now we have a market. So I see Courtney, you grabbed that trade. Good job.
Beautiful trade.
Now, I don't, I look at many different markets. It's come up in the last few weeks or what was it? I guess a couple months. I don't know. That Rusty has been when it's in this range or it's in this trend, it's offering better opportunity. Now that can change. I'm not here to preach. You got to change. No, I don't. It could be something else. I'm always looking for this type of structure. And it could Absolutely. Be where I started. I started at an exchange, the Mid-America Commodity Exchange, and they were the original mini contracts of all the busier contracts. And it was a smaller exchange, but it was in a big room. I can't see it. Almost a room. Almost like it's just a gym about the size of a high school gym.
Okay.
And there were small pits, but you could hear where the action was. If you were standing in one place, let's say in the soybeans, and you heard all this action in the bonds, you're like, there's volume over there. Literally, you could hear it. There's action. Oh, if you have a skill, you people we should run over there. What's going on? You have to have some plan, but
That's where the
that's
action
why
is.
I'm used to looking at many different markets.
Yep. Go where the movement is. I mean, it's literally that's what the markets are doing, right? There are market participants who trade multiple markets and they're trying to find where the best return on their investment is. Um, I used to see it all the time trading stocks as well, Coach Paul. We would find what was in play for the day because we say it in the beginning of the show every time. Our job is to identify opportunity. Money goes where the opportunity is. Uh, and if an opportunity dries up, and I saw someone in the chat says, I need to pack up my bags. Janish says, got to pack my bags from Nasdaq and move to the Russell from tomorrow. It's so clean. It is clean. It is extremely clean, and it's been that way. If the Russell was flat for the past 2 weeks, would we even be talking about it, Coach Paul?
No,
And
it
that's
wouldn't
the
offer
key,
opportunity.
right?
And
That
it gets in that situation.
Yep, yeah. And if opportunity dries up, right, you could stay there and hope it comes back, or you can identify where it's coming in again. Um, There's a question from John in the chat. How do I put the 200 EMA indicator on? Just go up to your indicators. It's a simple moving average. We're not using an exponential moving average here. We're using a simple one, which is use the moving average indicator. What you see on my charts here is the moving average triple because we use a 20, 50, and 200. But if you're just looking for the 200, go to indicators, moving average, and then you can change that value to 200 from there. I'm going to suggest turning it into a white line just for when we ask what is that white line, you know exactly what we're talking about. But make it whatever color you want. And Coach Paul, you knew Rambo?
Oh man. Boy, JD, you've been around. John Rambo Moulton, one of the biggest traders in Australia.
Mm,
Started at the Mid America Commodity Exchange. I was there when he was there. He started there. He traded silver, anything that moved, but he would stay in there for a period of time. Then he made enough money to go to the Board of Trade into the soybeans, and then he went to Australia and became one of the biggest traders. I think he's the biggest futures trader in Australia. And he was the reason they call him Rambo. He was just very aggressive. I haven't heard it. Yeah, there's a YouTube video on him. I suggest watching. He's
I've seen that
awesome.
one. It's a good one.
Yeah, he's awesome, and that personality is what he was. He was just fun to watch. Really
Mm.
enjoyed it. Boy, JD, you've been around to mention that name.
JD is a studier of all things markets for sure.
Yeah, a lot of great traders came out of the Mid America Commodity Exchange. Richard Dennis being the most famous,
Mm,
and some of the turtles came out. But the reason why is you had to have a craft of taking risk. You had to trade the market. Versus if you're in a bigger market, you just stand there volume and get fed. I don't want to go into the details, but there was a big advantage to being by the volume. You could buy sevens and sell eights. You could get taken, broker could help you. At the mid am, like us, but really kind of like prop traders, you had to have a craft. But the thing though is, if you were sitting in a pit that was dead and you just heard some roar, well, there's some action, there's some volume. It'll take time. And that's the basis of why I look at different markets.
there we go. All right. Let's get into gold. I have one question. What is that white line? You can't keep getting away with this. Paul's audio is like a robot. They tried to take you out, Coach Paul. Hold on. Let me fix that. All right. Give me an audio test now. Hold on one second. Nope. They can't hear you. fix that in a second and try it again now.
Check, double check. No,
There we go. Yep, we should be good now.
we're good. No more robot. Muted. Are we good now?
Yeah, we're good now. We're good to go.
All good. All right.
Thank you, Bruno. Thank you, chat. All right, yeah, you guys got it. What is that white line? The 200 moving average, the Great Wall, whatever you want to call it. And we didn't open there. Did we open there? We did open there. We opened right below it. Man, look at this. Okay, so here's last night's open. Let's take a look at VWAP. Who wants to guess whether or not VWAP has ever crossed that 200 moving average on the day? Nope. Priced above, did not. Volume above. And that might sound silly to somebody who's watching for the first time, but you guys get exactly what we mean. Price is going to move wherever price has. It's like water, right? But anyone ever have like bad water pressure in your shower? That's this price trading above a level and really not getting any follow through, right? Yeah, I'm going to get some water out of it, but when we turn the faucets on and the water actually comes out, all that pressure is to the downside. So, Coach Paul, I know you like to do this, but attaching a VWAP to the candle that tested that 200 moving average, again, it never got above it. Now, does that mean that this is a blind sell? No, but the flow is heavy to the downside in this case.
Well, looking at that, and then it was perfect. You put it on Shanghai Open. Is that Shanghai Open?
All
right. Both of those, either one, you hit a 2-to-1 trade.
Yep.
On the sell side. Now, if you're looking to buy it, the first time we closed above, like you had that VWAP.
To buy it, you said?
Yeah, to buy it. Well, I want, like we talked, you just said it. The price was there.
Yep.
But if I buy it, I'd like to have some buyers behind me.
Same.
Right?
It's a comfortable feeling knowing that you're not the only one.
Yeah, I actually need it.
Yeah.
So, in the buyers, from the way we define it, didn't show up. Yep. And we had that massive volume off of yesterday's FOMC announcement. That hour had how much volume?
That half an hour was 40,000, about 71,000 contracts traded in a half an hour there. Shout out to Janesh. Bought the shorts off of VWAP from the FOMC.
Nice. Great job. So, yeah, reading that, what's dominating here?
Selling.
Now, if we just frame that out, I mean, that's going to be, we're going to be watching that for a while.
Oh, this candle here?
Yeah, that's the all-time high and the largest volume. Now, we're settling underneath. We settled yesterday underneath. We tried to regain that and failed how many times? Now, I just want to go like this. Why did we fail? And I'm not trying to be coy here. We failed because no buyers showed up.
Yep. At a major level, right above that 3,700. Holding above these major levels, we're going to have some convinced buyers to trade above. And they just were not there.
Twice it broke down hard from that level.
Yep.
To me, that maybe they've been listening. No. To the show. But let's look at the daily. Potential blow off top for now.
Looking a little continuation volume like here.
Yeah.
and we did get extended from that 200 moving average. If we start to see some trading under, and look at where we've held, right? So and we talked about this candle a lot, which was the prior candle that made the all-time high. Look at the low of the session today, 36.62. How many times are we going to test this level and buyers continue to defend it? It was the low of the session today, but the more we test it, we're seeing some heavier sell side volume coming in. And if it holds, great, right? That's a great spot to look to buy. If this breaks, I think we quickly see that move to the 20 moving average down. It would be at 3,600s basically.
Yeah, and looking at that high volume, that's definitely, we have some profit taking or liquidation. So tonight's another big night. Looking at that half hour, seeing how that daily is, especially that yesterday's range was basically FOMC. That hour, literally, that was the range and the volume. So very, very interesting. What's 50% of this move?
Of today's move?
Yeah.
I think it's probably
No,
37.
50% from this rally all the way down where we started from.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
35.50s. 35.50s. Interesting. Interesting stuff. All right, let's
silver do today.
Silver, let's see. Silver looked like it sold off after FOMC yesterday, and
kind of the same.
Kind of the same, yeah. This was
that white line high.
That's right off the Fed meeting. Right off the Fed meeting. I don't know, man. I don't know what's going on here. Something about this 200 moving average is just continuously a level of interest. Now, anything we say here is for educational purposes only, not trading or investment advice. And a market's approach to a 200 moving average is going to help dictate what the trades are. Right? Is it always going to be a buy at the 200 moving average? Is it always going to be a sell? It really depends. But yeah, I mean, to the tick. They can't keep getting away with this, or they can, and then it's our job to take the trade. Man, that's pretty crazy. Let's take a look at crude oil, that white line again. And the reason we keep putting that on there and paying attention to it, were there trades outside of it? 100%. But I know to a high probability that there's going to be some type of reaction around here. And that may be where my opportunities lie. I think we need to do a lot better as traders, myself included, at filtering opportunity where, hey, there could be price action, but is it price action that I've measured to a high probability pays me? If not, why don't I only focus on the things that pay me? Pay attention to the business that pays you. Here's crude oil from last night, Coach Paul.
All right. Wow, that was a very, the definition of chop. Really, I don't know. I didn't trade it. Now I can see why. I didn't find an opportunity.
Right.
But once again, bouncing off that 200 was a nice trade. One of the ways we look on that when it first gets there is put a VWAP. Then look at the 3 minute or 5 minute or 1 minute when it gets to that level. See if you find a J trade there. So there's what it got, and we did. Did we?
We did.
Yeah, we did. So, boy, crude, I mean, it was hard. There was so much other opportunities, but crude, just like any market, there's opportunities. But I mean, this market just doesn't, it's in a balance. But unless you're disciplined, look at that. I mean, Uh, That's like being. Have you ever been out on a lake, big lake, like the Great Lakes, and there's a storm? It's the worst thing on earth. You- Up and down, and you get seasick, and it's just it doesn't stop. That's
Yeah.
what this crop reminded me. It's not small. So but we talk about being disciplined, looking for a certain opportunity.
Yep.
Otherwise, there's not much to say. Crude,
Mm. Yeah, it was a kind of a choppy mess. But selling it above somewhere above 64s has been the trade. If we look at it daily, uh, somewhere above 64 right now is a good spot to look to assume some risk to the short side. Again, anything we say here is for educational purposes only, not trading advice. Lamar Jordan, sorry. So basically, the white line tells you where it should be, where the market should be. Not necessarily. I think more so than anything, Coach Paul. Correct me if I'm wrong. This 200 moving average is telling you the trend of the market, right? If we're below it, the trend is to the downside, especially if there's an angle, right? Sometimes 200 moving average is going to be flat, which is telling us that there's no direction in the market. But if we have a trending 200 moving average in this case to the downside, it's telling you where the trend is on that market, at least in that time frame.
yes, that is exactly it. And when it's flopping around, it's probably not a good place and not a good opportunity. Look at that versus gold.
It's been a trend. I mean, gold has been in this trend, and we can see it on the daily, but it's been in this trend. I really like looking at this 200 moving average on the, we were above it for 25 days in gold, right? So it's telling us the trend. And then if the idea is getting with the trend, any tests of that 200 moving average in a strong trend should be, a decent opportunity. Not always going to work out that way. But then also, how do we determine when the trend is changing? Been above it for 25 days. Now we're starting to trade below it a little bit. Does this mean that we're going all the way back down? No, but in this, you know, more immediate time frame, the trend is at least changing a little bit. Before we start to trade lower extensively, we'll probably see this flatten out. Uh,
Yeah.
but trend changing for now, at least. Could flatten out and we trade right back above it. Um, all right. Bullet Trader says, I've noticed when the white line 200 moving average align with the new week opening gap, the reaction tends to be strong for equities, almost like some big players have to buy it there.
Great. Wow.
I'll say too much before they cut us off again, but All right. Khadijah asked, can we look at the bonds? We also had a question from KJ. Tomorrow is OPEX, right? Options expiration day. There was a question earlier, hey, coaches, do you even suggest trading OPEX day? Could we get some weird price action? We could. Are there going to be trade setups? There are. Do you have to trade the equities or markets that are affected by that options expiration as much as some others? You don't, right? So you could look for opportunity elsewhere, but yeah, we may get some weird price action, especially towards the end of the day. Coach Paul, real quick before we get to the bonds, do you know if the metals are as affected as the equities are when it comes to options expiration?
No, because there's really one gold market and option market. There's the futures and the cash. There is some um, equity based, mining based, but it's not as intense. Stocks, because it's futures, the step is going off the board, options, equity options, and I believe some ETF options with large open interest. And what can happen is they start feeding. If there's a move, it starts getting exacerbated. It can't. Now, it doesn't always do that. Um, but be aware. I would say it will give some short term volatility, unexpected. If you're if you're disciplined and you're looking at your trading plan and how you might want to tighten it up a little bit as far as size. It can lead to some choppiness and exacerbation where like making new lows into new highs. But I don't let it affect my trading myself. If there's a setup, there's a setup. If there's not, there's not. I can't control it, but it can lead to short-term variation swings exacerbated by the expiration of options, because the options expire, the ones that are not been closed go into a futures, or in this case you can't go into a futures because the futures are expiring. So they're whipsaw potential. But what I believe has happened over time, this is known, and there's been adjustments by traders.
Yep. Go. Taking a quick look at the bonds, man. This looks a lot like. What does this look like to you guys, chat? What chart that we've gone over does this 30-year bond chart look like? See who gets it first. Bullet traders, you have a good one?
Yeah, have a good night.
Let's see who gets it. Which chart are we looking at here? Very similar. At least in the last month. There we go. Genius, genie. Gold
Yeah, there
looks
it
a
is.
lot like gold, right? Above that, 12 days instead of 25, above that 200 moving average. But we just crossed below it. There we go. You guys got it now. So are we seeing a little bit of a change in the trend here? Where on the higher time frame, this looks nothing like gold, right? This looks the exact opposite of gold. And we have that trend line from going back to 2024, or if you want to put it off of the 2025 highs, we could do this as well, right? We rejected off of it. And this is a market that, I mean, zoom out. How long has this been under heavy sell pressure? Are we seeing another leg down, Coach Paul? What are we seeing here? I mean, we're getting rate cuts.
We're getting rate cuts, and we broke after the news.
Right.
So let's do it. I'm glad you brought up bonds. Let's take a look at the half hour on FOMC announcement.
Hey, they're
Frame
cutting
that
rates. Nobody
candle.
cares.
Huh?
I said the reaction was, hey, they're cutting rates, and nobody cares.
Now, that can be really bearish
Yeah.
because it's inflationary. Bonds are affected, 30-year bonds are very sensitive to inflation. In other words, you got to find investors or buyers of bonds that are long term at at a rate that's historically not expensive. Let's put it that way. You're not getting paid a lot to take that. And then when you cut interest rates, it's very inflationary. And let's say we don't know anything about that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, throw our intellectual thinking cap and just concentrate on market action,
All the
the
flow.
price action. Bonds did not like that.
Yep.
And look where I mean, it's under the 200. It's almost like an opening range, right?
Yeah. And I
We
know.
went back and tested the bottom of that and last night. And when volume came, so if we just frame out the opening 5 or 3 minutes this morning,
Remind me what time that is. That is that 7 a.m.
7
Central?
o'clock.
Right
Yeah.
here.
See where the volume comes in. Yeah. Not looking good. Bonds look like they couldn't continue lower. Now I'm approaching that by selling calls,
Okay,
call spreads.
nice.
I don't, I don't like getting naked short ever. Um, in options, but the I missed that.
It might be just getting started here.
It might be. So we'll look at the openings, but this could gain momentum back down to the 200-day moving average. But that is not you're not attracting investors into the long end. And I think, it was pretty much same thing in the 10-year and the 5-year.
Here's the 5-year chart. Here's the 2-year chart. Twos, fives, ends. What is that white line there? Ultra bonds, all of it. So nice trending market there as well. I don't know how many treasury traders that we have that trade any of the treasury products, but they're great markets to trade, I think, as well. Again, not something that you're probably going to hear a whole lot about. Jack will talk about it, right? Jack will talk about it a lot. You can get a lot of information from listening to Jack on fast markets, because that's what he that was his career for a while. But interesting markets here. Khadijah brings it up all the time. I hope you're in it. Hope you're trading them. But good stuff here. We are above time right now, Coach Paul.
Oh,
I got a dinner reservation I got to get to. Anything you got before we go?
once again, plan your trade and trade your plan. I can't say it any better.
It is. Yeah, I agree with you, Coach. Robert is doing a class in Discord right now. Coach Hoop is coming up after him. Then we got Coach Rain, Coach Vince, 6 p.m. and 7 p.m. Central Time. And of course, Dakota with Slow Markets tonight at 7:30. I think he might have a guest on there tonight. Genius Genie, what is our opinion and guidance on triple witching? We just talked about it a little bit. Can it cause some crazy price action? It can. But we don't worry about the boogeyman as long as we have a plan, right? If there's no plan set up for you tomorrow, because it's triple witching, you'll see that in the charts. So follow your plan. Understand that it could cause some weird price action, but at the end of the day, if you don't have a signal, you don't have a trade. Thank you everyone for joining. As always, every day, we appreciate you. We can't do the show without you and all of your questions. So we appreciate you being here. If you haven't done so already, hit that thumbs up button. One more day until the weekend. Trade well, manage your risk, and we will see you all tomorrow. Bye.
Bye.